What up, peeps? Your friendly neighborhood Monamachos here, speaking to you from my fortress of solitude. First of all, I do want to thank a few of you who've gotten a hold of me. We are having significant torrential downpours and tornadic activity here in green country, what we call northeastern Oklahoma. It is very green. And some of you have reached out to me to see how I'm doing. Thank you. You know who you are. I appreciate your concern, and I see that one of you is also experiencing some kind of problems like this as well. Um, I'm concerned, and I pray for you as well. Okay, why libertarians are useless, or why Justin Amash is a cuck. I'm sorry. At this stage of my life, I'm just going to call him as I see him. Now, Justin Amash is a Republican congressman from the 3rd District of Michigan, a libertarian, and a principled one, or so we are led to believe. Interestingly enough, he's an Orthodox Christian, and to the extent that he adheres to libertarian principles, I applaud him. However, in reality, it's not so much. Let me tell you why. First of all, Justin Amash has been a never-Trumper. Unlike the more sane people in the Republican Party, like Lindsey Graham, he realized that, hey, this Trump character, he may not be a conservative, but he's governing in a conservative fashion. He has slashed regulations out the wazoo. He's not only appointed 2 Supreme Court justices, but dozens of district court justices and other federal level judges. In fact, he's remaking the judiciary. In fact, he's remaking the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, which is the also called the Ninth Circus Court of Appeals. Anyway, he's cut taxes. He's just done more in 2 years than most Republican presidents have done in 8 years within my lifetime that I can remember. Okay, so let's cut the crap. Okay, now, Justin Amash. Interestingly, and I'm going to post it down here, Josh Bernstein, one of my favorite YouTubers, exposed the hypocrisy behind Amash. Amash is not doing this for principled reasons only. Or at least I could make a principled case that there's more to it than meets the eye. Specifically, his family, quite wealthy, fine, no problems with that. They own a manufacturing company called Tecton. Well, most of their business is done in China. So, isn't it coincidental, fascinating, that once Trump announces a trade war with China, that a few days later, Justin Amash is the first and so far only Republican to come forward and call for impeachment of the president. There's always a little bit more than meets the eye, isn't it? Anyway, before that, though, before I found that out, again, thanks to Josh Bernstein, I wanted to write an open letter to Amash. I've referenced part of it up above. And that has to do with the fact that I have no use for libertarians anymore. And I've been a long, idealized libertarian myself. A libertarian is a classic liberal in the Jeffersonian mold. It's not possible anymore. Let me tell you why. For Amash to hint or insinuate that Trump is some kind of Nazi is beyond ridiculous. What I want to say to him and all so-called libertarians out there is, if you're really mad at Trump, why aren't you mad at the federal government and how it has slit the bonds of the Constitution almost to the effect that it has shredded it up completely? Think about it. Where was Justin Amash when stormtroopers broke down the door of Roger Stone and terrified his 72-year-old deaf wife? Where was he when they planned, at probably the cost of several $1,000s, an amphibious operation, a scaled-down version of Normandy Beach on D-Day? Where was he when the FBI broke into Roger Stone's house, not Roger Stone, Paul Manafort's house, and dragged him and his wife out at 5 o'clock in the morning in their pajamas on the front lawn? Where was Justin Amash and all the other libertarians screaming when Paul Manafort, a 72-year-old man or 74-year-old man, was placed in solitary confinement for months to break his spirit? Okay, I could go on and on. Where is Justin Amash when the dean of Harvard Law School lost his job because he acted according to the canon of ethics of being a lawyer? Where was he? Where was he when the 6 media conglomerates get together and they manufacture news and suppress other news? I could go on and on and on and on. I've just had it with the hypocrisy. It's one thing to say, well, Trump, he's twice divorced. That's not good. I get it. Okay. And he kind of did eminent domain shenanigans when he was a businessman in the private sector. And he probably cheated on his taxes and all that stuff. Okay, fine. But what about all these other massive crimes that are being done by people in the other party and the federal government? We don't hear nothing. Nothing. They don't say boo. So, I've had it with libertarianism. It doesn't work. It's just a pose. It's a moral preening. That's all it is. That and nothing more. Amash thinks that he's going to, be loved because he said this. Well, he's not. He got a primary challenger within a day of his announcement of his, just as he was getting off of his high horse. Okay, and he's going to lose, and he's going to maybe, if he's lucky, get a gig on MSNBC after he loses, and he could play footsie with Rachel Maddow or the other idiots on that clown show. Okay, but he's not going to be a congressman, and he has destroyed his brand, and he's destroyed libertarianism. He really has. It's just not possible anymore, because at the end of the day, libertarians really don't care about liberty per se. Because if they did, they'd go after the income tax or the Federal Reserve System. God bless Rand Paul. At least he means it. And of course, he got that from his father, Congressman Ron Paul. Okay, they actually mean it. Okay, and they're principled, but they're probably the last two principled libertarians of any consequence in the United States. All the other libertarians, I mean, let's face it, when push comes to shove, they always go left. They will always punch to the right. If they have to make a choice, they will always go left. Because at the end of the day, all they want is their nice little gigs. And to be told by the beautiful people how principled they are. We see this with Mitt Romney. He's not a libertarian, but he thinks he's, being principled and courageous. Everybody sees right through it. Everybody sees right through it. I mean, Mitt Romney has the demeanor, the intellectual demeanor of an Addie Haskell. Nobody gives a crap. So I could go on and on and on, but I'm sorry that Justin Amash did this very stupid act of political suicide. I'm sorry that he's destroying the libertarian brand, because he is. And, the fact that he's an Orthodox Christian and and usually anti-war in the same reason that Rand Paul is. That's to his credit, but he's not going to do anybody any good on the outside or on CNN or MSNBC. So, anyway, enough of that. Please watch Josh Bernstein's video below. He goes into more detail about the shenanigans of the Amash family and why they are upset with the incipient trade war with China. I want to leave you with this note, though. Tom Friedman, liberal, okay, said something that really shocked me the other day. He said, regarding this trade war with China, Trump may not be the president the United States deserves, but he is the president that China deserves. Because China has been taking advantage of us for decades. So, on that note, I'm going to leave you all for the time being. Again, thank you for your concern. And Pax Vobiscum. Let's try to love one another. Adios.